to 4,000 referrals from police this year to date. And with approximately 10 new cases filed every day, that number will greatly exceed last year's referrals. While it is indicative of a spike in crime, AG Leonardo Rapadas says many of the cases are actually going to trial.
I don't know if that's a function of the bar thinking, well, they're understaffed, so we've got to push them to trial. But guess what? We're going to go to trial. Just because you're going to push us, you're not going to force us not to go to trial in cases that we believe deserve to go to trial or don't plead.
Chief Prosecutor Basil O'Malley calls the defense tactic sandbagging, when attorneys waive their clients' speedy trial rights and then last minute decide to assert, forcing the government to take the case to trial.
The attorneys who are handling the cases are ready. The bigger problem is getting the victims ready to come in at a very short notice and prep them and get them ready to testify. Like I've told all of the attorneys in prosecution, if you believe a crime has been committed, we will take the case to trial. If you cannot work out a reasonable, just resolution, we'll go to trial.
How successful, though, are you guys when you guys go to trial?
We're not very good at keeping track. I don't,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We don't, the boss doesn't keep stats on something like that.
It's something
I think that would be important so that you guys would know what your conviction rate is or what your...
we can do that. We keep track of that, but it's not something that I think is important. It's important, but it's not on the higher echelon of ratings. I just want to make sure that justice is served when we go to trial.
But KUAM was able to get that information from the Superior Court, and it doesn't appear that justice is always served for the victims, as many cases have resulted in acquittals. According to court records, since 2008, more than 45 cases went to trial and resulted in acquittals. 14 of those occurred since January of this year, and 10 last year. The acquittals resulted in the dismissal of charges against Philip Henry, who'd been charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct, David Vidlana Kitakwa Jr., who'd been charged with multiple counts of second-degree robbery with a special allegation of possession and use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony, Edward Matagolay Sablan Jr., who was charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct. The aggravated assault case against Sidney Borja, Eugenio Vegafria, and Jerry Gutierrez also resulted in an acquittal of the charges. It's the same for Seraphin Pablo, who'd been charged with second-degree CSC on a victim who was younger than 14. Edward J. Aguero was acquitted of murder, negligent homicide, and aggravated assault, as well as burglary and other charges in a separate case. Misdemeanor child abuse and assault charges against Gladys Solomilos were dropped, and Elcidi Rapon was acquitted of aggravated assault, while Edward Marar was acquitted of first-degree CSC. Stephen Miranda was acquitted of burglary. According to news files, there have been at least 6 guilty verdicts this year, and a number of criminal cases have resulted in plea agreements that are also considered convictions.
I don't play those sorts of numbers. I look at it, but I also try to look beneath the numbers.
As for criticism from defense attorneys who accuse the AGs of charging first and investigating later after dragging their client's name through the mud,
This administration does not do that. We absolutely do not do that.
Rapadas says if prosecutors can't prove a case, they won't charge or they'll dismiss the case, especially those that are initially substantiated but later determined to lack any basis for charges. The AG says he hopes with the upcoming fiscal year budget, the office will be able to hire 2 new attorneys, 2 paralegals and secretaries, as well as an investigator to help with the growing caseload. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Mindy Egan.